Okay, everyone, let's start again. So yeah, August 20th. Everything that is due is due. Make sure you're checking. So today, Unit 5, Quest 2's number is due. Culminating has been released already. We're doing review, and it's due August 22nd at noon. And Culminating Part B will also be due at noon. That's not released yet. So as I was saying, all work has to be your own work. No graphic software. You have to use concepts learned in this class. Failure to do so will result in a mark of 0 for that question. This includes the following. So, domain and range. You must be stated in set notation. What that means is set notation, if you forgot, is when you're writing your domain and range in this format. This is considered set notation. Why? This is an example of set notation. An example of what's not set notation is this. Something like that, or something like this. So these two are examples of not set notation, and that's something you learn in later on in grade 12 and university and stuff. So right now we are expecting you to have your domain and range in set notation because we did not teach you that, and that's not part of our course. So if you are answering with concepts that are not within the course, you will be losing marks for that question, or rather, you won't be, achieving any marks for that question. All right. Second, very important. A lot of students made a mistake on their Unit 4 test there. Angles and equations. All angles and equations must be in degrees. So when it comes to the trig unit, everything must be in degrees. If you are using anything remotely close to a pi symbol, that is an automatic 0. Automatic 0 for that question. Because this symbol, I don't think you guys even know what that means. Because it was never taught to you. It's never been taught to you prior to grade 11. And this is a grade 12 concept. It's called radians. And we are not doing radians at all in this course. So if you have any answers that have anything to do with pi for the trig unit, that is an automatic mark of 0 for that question. So be very careful with that. Transformations, this is important as well. A lot of students, well, most students have been doing it correctly, but some students have been not writing the transformations in correct order. Now, what do I mean by correct order? Correct order for transformations would mean that you always write your your stretches or compressions first. So you always write your stretch / compressions first. Then you can write your reflections. Now, there's technically a little bit of leeway between if you write reflections first and then stretches and compressions, that's fine too. But these two things have to be first, stretches, compressions, or reflections, before translations. Translations are shift up and shift down. If you remember how I've been doing in class every single time, I've always written in order. I never write shift up and shift down and then write horizontal stretch. I usually always start with my A value, which is a vertical stretch or compression, or vertical reflection. Then I move on to my K value, which is horizontal stretch or compression or horizontal reflection. And then I move on to my D and C values, which are my horizontal translations or vertical translations. So make sure you're writing your transformations in order. Trigonometric proof. This is when you're doing trig identities. So trig identities, remember to prove your trig identities properly. This is important. Exponential functions. No use of log, e, or ln. So some students were using e and ln. That has not been taught to you in this course. So just be careful. I'm gonna edit the log part though, because log you can use if the unknown exponent is in the unknown variable, is in the exponent. Which I'm not sure. I have to look at the questions if that is the case or not. It may not be the case, so you may not need to use log. But if that is the case, then you have to use log. I guess you can use trial and error, but that's fine. Okay. Follow proper submission instructions. Scan. Okay, yeah, so I already went over this many times. Scan your images. Has to be clear. Question number written. Has to be neat. If I can't read it, you're not gonna get marks for it. Make sure you submit in Dropbox. No email submissions allowed. It's just normal stuff. Nothing new. The due date is Thursday, August 22nd at 12 noon. At which time the Dropbox will close. Failure to hand in by closing time or not by instructions above will result in mark of 0. Give yourself time to submit. Should you have any questions, concerns, teacher name. I don't know why. Should say Mr. Khan, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Teacher name is fine. Okay. So yeah, any questions now for the submission of culminating or anything to do with this marks of 0, if for domain and range, ankles, transformations, trig, and exponential functions? Anything specific? Ask now, please. Yes, so your term mark is the one that's going to be shown on if you click on grades. I'm not going to click on grades because it's going to show everyone's marks, but if you click on grades, it's the mark shown, yes. But it's not updated yet because I still need to input the quest, which is due tonight. So once you finish that mark will be inputted tomorrow because it's due at 11:59 p.m. So it has to be due tomorrow. And then by latest tomorrow, you will have, I should have the Unit 4 test actually in today, but by latest tomorrow, you will have all your marks there for you. So definitely by the 22nd, before the full disclosure date, you'll have your whole term mark. And then you can make your decision based on whether you want to stay in the course or not on the 22nd. So yeah. Oh, just so you know, everyone understands that the drop form is this one here, course withdrawal form 2024. And your handbook is here. This is all the rules and another bunch of rules and stuff. Okay. Any other questions? So I recommend everyone to actually open up your culminating and take a look at it. All right, so here's a culminating. August 2024, MCA3U, function 11, due at Thursday, noon. 60 marks out of 75. I will get back to you. I'm not sure exactly what this 18% final course grade means. I think that means I guess it's worth 18% of your overall mark. I will double check this. I thought it was 20. Like 20 and 10, like part A is worth 20%, part B is worth 10%. But it might be 18 and 12. I'll just double check it. I'm assuming this is correct because we went over it, but I'm just gonna double check the math to make sure that this makes sense to me. But yeah, so this part A is worth 18%, and part B will be worth 12%, which is a multiple choice, so a total of 30%. Here are all the instructions, like an exam. Make sure you do everything properly. Good luck. Okay, so here we have question number 1. Find the inverse of the following function. So we went over this. I would recommend going through, the lesson about inverse functions. There are videos available. I've posted YouTube videos as well. So make sure you go back and check out the YouTube video that goes over a question that looks exactly like this. And remember, the whole nice thing about online courses, the fact that you have 60 hours to do this, is that you have time to look over your notes. You have time to, watch videos and learn the material while you're doing the question, like refresh the material, relearn the material. So my recommendation, watch the video on inverse functions. I did an example like this. So yeah, make sure you restrict the domain of f of x such that the inverse is a function. So that means the inverse, quote unquote, will probably not be a function. And then you have to restrict the domain. We did a question like this on the test as well. Include all possible, all possibilities, and ensure your domain is written in set notation. So this is part of the question where your domain has to be written properly. If you do not write the domain properly, even if you get the inverse right, the whole question you're going to get 0 because that's the whole point. You need to be able to write the domain in proper set notation. If you're not doing that, you're losing marks. So be very careful. You got to follow what we taught you in this course. You can't just get information from, let's say, online or from another person or friend.